All right. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever you are. We're here at the Ubuntu Community Team Q&A another week at the same time. We're here to answer all of your questions about Ubuntu and open source. We know that you're participating on IRC. So if you can hear us as well as it's tradition, just let us know so that we know that everything is working all right. If you've got any questions, remember to prepend your actual question with the word question so that we can spot them easily. And then we'll answer them to the best of our abilities, essentially. I'm David Planella, I manage the community team, and today I'm joined with, sorry, by Michael Hall, also from the community team, who you all
Hey everyone.
All right. So again, as it's tradition, we're starting with a couple of news of what's going on and what's cool in Ubuntu. And I think, Mike, I've heard something about snaps, KDE, Ubuntu, Krita, and I think you've got something to do with it.
Yes, so a while back I got some help from Scarlett Clark, who's part of KDE and Ubuntu, snapping up a simple KDE app. We chose the calculator because she had already started on that and it's pretty basic. And after I got that working, I was excited and decided to try my hand at something a little bit larger and more difficult. And I knew that Krita, the KDE digital painting application, was working on a big new release. So that became my target. And at first I thought it was going to be really hard because it's a really big, complicated app. But it turns out that because it has been developed to be cross-platform and cross-distro, it was actually surprisingly easy to get a snap built for it. So I've been working with Upstream to get them to integrate the snap building configurations. And they did have a snap package that was part of the initial 3.0 release, but we're working out some bugs with that now that we've encountered to fix that. And as soon as we get a good working snap that installs and just works without hassle, then we will get that put in the store via Upstream so that they can then send out updates to everybody directly without having to go through Canonical or Ubuntu or anybody to do that. I also want to give a shout out to them because they are in the middle of a crowdfunding campaign right now to pay for continued development of Krita. They've got some big new updates on this release. They've got a 2D animation set of tools now, so you can do frame-by-frame animations in Krita, which looks really cool. And they pay for all this by these Kickstarter campaigns that they do, I think, once a year or so. And this one's coming to an end in 7 days. So if anybody enjoys the program, likes to support free software, and especially software like Krita, then please go to their campaign and donate whatever you can to that. And stay tuned. As soon as we get a working snap, I will be posting that everywhere.
Excellent. So yeah, as Mike is saying, stay tuned for more updates on Snap. This is Krita, but you'll be seeing more and more snaps coming in for Ubuntu, for flavors, and for everything, essentially. All right, so another thing that I wanted to mention as well was UbuCon Europe. As a reminder, UbuCon Europe is an event that's going to happen in Germany, in the nice city of Essen, on the 18th to the 20th of November this year. We're in the process of organizing it. This week, we had big news, actually, on the UbuCon side of things. Jane Silver, the CEO of Ubuntu, confirmed that she'll be doing the keynote of the event, which is it's going to be very, very exciting, especially to have Jane in such a community event. As a reminder, this is not a solely Canonical organized event. This is an event organized by community members, in which Canonical is participating as part of the community as well. So I just wanted to say good work to everyone that has been involved in the organization of the UbuCon, especially with getting the first presenters to the schedule and making an event where Jane will be proud to participate as well. So kudos to everyone. Other than that, if you want to know more about ubucon.de and any other ubucon, just head to ubucon.org. We've got some preliminary information of the event. You will find the first speakers that have confirmed attendance. But in the upcoming months, we'll be adding all of the information, and we'll be filling into the full schedule. All right, then. I think with this, we can get to the first questions. We've got quite a lot already piling up.
And go ahead and keep asking questions while we answer these. What usually happens is we get to the last 10 minutes or so, and there's this flood of questions, and we don't have time to answer them all. So please don't wait until the very end to start asking questions. Ask them as soon as you think of them. It won't interrupt us, so don't worry about that. We'll just get to them as we get to them.
Excellent. All right, so I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first question is from Jarlat. Is there a papercuts-like initiative happening under the name of Band-Aids for Ubuntu Touch here? And they're pointing at a Launchpad page, paxtonlaunchpad.net/Band-Aids uphone. I know about the initiative. I've been talking to one of the organizers, but I think Mike knows even more about it, and he can tell us more.
Yes, we actually had a session during the last UOS to go over the scope and the work items for this. So if you're interested and you want to go back and watch that video, it's on summit.ubuntu.com/UOS-1605. And then just do a search for Band-Aid, and you should find the video there. But the long and short of it is that, yes, it is kind of a new papercuts kind of project. It's going to focus specifically on Ubuntu Touch, so Unity 8 on a touch device, not the desktop interface, just phones and tablets. Julia, who's running that from the Canonical side, had some work items to project in Teams and then send out an announcement. So I will follow up with her and see where things stand on that, and offer whatever help I can to keep things moving. But if you're interested, there's a team, I believe, already set up. You can request to join that. And as soon as those emails go out, you'll get them.
All right.
All right. The next one is from Richard Boo. Says, is mobile still a key part of Ubuntu plans? Red Shuttleworth said, unlikely Ubuntu phone will be lead device. What is the end goal of phone? So I think the phone is still as much a plan as anything else in Ubuntu is. We target multiple different angles. Beyond cloud and server, we've obviously got the desktop that we've always had, and the phone fits in nicely with that. And it also pairs nicely with the IoT work that we're doing, which kind of grew out of Ubuntu Phone. So a lot of those technologies that were developed for the phone itself have made their way into the desktop and into IoT, and soon also into cloud. So it's an integral part, the wider strategy that we have for all of these different devices and use cases, and it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, also you have to you can think of in terms of convergence as well. Either the phone and the tablet are also key parts of the convergence story, essentially to be able to use your device or your mobile device as your computer. And you have to think as well that quite a lot of the work that we do for the phone reflects on the desktop as well. And then, I mean, this group of technologies are feeding on each other. And as Mike was saying, quite a lot of the work that we did for Ubuntu on the phone was used for the concepts behind Snappy or Snaps, and ultimately the phone will be running on Snaps as well. So yeah, just as an additional note.
All right, the next questions are coming from Chloe Wolfie Girl, who asks these all the time. And every time we say, you know what, we should get Thomas Voss on to answer these, and we never do. So David, do you think you can convince Thomas to come on next week?
I can try. I can try.
We'll see what his schedule is, but we need to get him on as soon as we can because these questions do keep coming up, and we never have a good answer other than let's bring Thomas on.
All right. So, yeah. So perhaps, Chloe, with the promise that we'll try to give you an answer on the next edition of the Q&A. Perhaps we'll skip them this time around, and then we'll go to the next question from Kumber. Well, when will the Meizu Pro 5 be back on stock? I'm not sure I've got that information, to be honest. I've been away for a couple of weeks, and generally this the conversations on stock, or rather the manage of stock, takes place within like. What I'm trying to say is that the manufacturer takes care of this. So I'm not sure I can actually answer that one. Other than yeah, we're hoping that it will be soon.
Right. It came back in stock for a little while, and then people started saying that it was back in stock and ordering it, and it was quickly out of stock again. And this is all from JD.com or JDbuyer.com, the company that Meizu is using to sell them worldwide. So it may be just a matter of, how often do they get new stock from Meizu, and we really don't have any answer to you other than keep an eye out on the website, look for us announcing when it's back in stock, and be ready to jump on it when it is, because they do seem to sell fast once they have some to sell.
All right. Sandra is asking, is there a timetable for snaps to come to the phone and tablet? If not, when do you think it's likely to happen? As far as I know, there's no timetable, but since this was the stand as in a couple of weeks ago, but since things on the Snappy world changed so quickly, I might be out of date already. In any case, just to reassure you that there's discussions on the best way to do it. It's not an easy task, not only in terms of the technology itself, but also in terms of how to support the existing customers that are running phones with click packages. I'll tell you that I think it's going to happen soon, but right now, as far as I know, as in today, I'm not sure about any particular schedule, other than the fact that it's being looked at.
And it's not going to be quite as simple as just replacing clicks with snaps. There are some other considerations because snaps do quite a bit more than clicks did. I think Ted Gould is pushing some of that on the Unity side to make sure that snaps work well with Unity 8. There might also be an issue with the kernel if snaps require newer systemd, which I think they might. Be available on some of the phones where we only have older kernel sources from the manufacturer. So there's some things to work out on that. I don't think we're going to see snaps on the phone available to general consumers anytime real soon, but we might have some images in this cycle for people who want to start testing that process and testing Snap apps on phones.
All right, next question from Jarlat. A recent update to the libnl package was causing systems to lose their network interfaces on 1404. I'm wondering why Ubuntu Canonical don't use automated testing for critical packages such as these.
We do actually have quite a bit of automated testing that we've built up over the last few years.
Yeah.
But automated testing only tests, what we have tests for, and it's possible that this is a package or a specific change to a package that was not covered by the test cases that we currently had.
Yeah, particularly the phone had been, the phone had meant quite a big push for automated testing, not only of the OS itself, but also of the applications that come on top and are pre-installed by default. But yeah, as Mike is saying, automated testing is as good as there's coverage for a particular package or app. It might well be. I'm not familiar with libnl, so it might be that either upstream don't have automated tests, or we canonical / Ubuntu as the distributors, we didn't have automated tests for that one.
All right, the next one is from Richard Boo. He says, I also read Shuttleworth doesn't use Ubuntu phone. Interested if you all use or don't use it as a daily driver. So I use it as a daily driver. It's the only phone that I've had for about 2 years now. I've ridden the ups and downs of Bleeding Edge. I currently run the RC Proposed channel, which gets me just about daily images. So I get a 5 to 10 meg update every morning for my phone, which has been pretty good so far. It's certainly better now than it was in the first 6 months or so that I started using it.
All right, and then I think we've talked about it. It's a question that comes often on this Q&As, and I think the whole of the community team is using Ubuntu phones as a daily driver. I've got my E4.5 Aquarius that I'm using with dual SIM, and that's my phone. That's not actually my only phone. I've got what's his name? An Nexus 4 with dual boot. At the time, I had Android on it. A few years ago, we produced this dual boot software that allowed you to boot into Android or Ubuntu. On that one, I've got RC Propose as well, but on my daily phone, I'm not as brave as Mike, and I'm using just stable. So I'm getting the OTAs at the same pace that everyone does.
All right, the next one is from Cucumber again, and it's not so much a question as a statement. He says, I'm trying to find a phone with Ubuntu, but all the links on www.ubuntu.com/phone/devices are out of stock or 404 links. For the 404 links, as I mentioned in the chat, please file a bug for that. The project is launchpad.net/Ubuntu-website. If you file those bugs, somebody will get those links fixed. As for out of stock, there's not a whole lot that I can do for that other than, like we mentioned before, wait for announcements that stock is available and be ready to jump on them when they are.
All right, but I mean, just to clarify though, I've just tested the website and it seems that I could at least go to click on Mesa Pro 5. He
says the E4.5 link is dead.
Yeah.
So they may have changed where it is on their website, and we haven't updated our link yet.
Yeah.
But again, any problems with any of our websites like that, the solution is to file a bug. Find out the project on Launchpad behind the website. It's often in the footer of the website. You'll either have a file a bug link or just a mention of what the project is. But go file a bug for any problems like that. And for most of the websites, you'll actually be able to help us fix them if you're willing to jump into some code for us.
All right, next question. Actually, I think, Mike, that one's for you.
Mike, is this the one from Chloe?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Are you going to?
If I'm going to...
Sorry, go on.
No, you read it. I'll answer it.
Alrighty. So, Mike Hall, are you going to start creating Ubuntu backgrounds using Krita?
Probably not. No, I've never really been able to figure out digital art, so digital painting or image editing or anything. I can do the basics. I can crop and color adjust and stuff. But as for actually creating, never been able to figure that out.
All right. I should say as well that there was a pretty please attached to that question as well. So no pressure, Mike.
Sorry, Chloe. All
right. What's your favorite non-alcoholic beverage? All right. Here's a good non-open source question. I'd go with water or orange juice.
So I have two favorites depending on the time of day. Anything before lunch, my favorite is coffee. And anything after lunch, I drink iced tea because I am from the USA and I am from the South, and that's practically a legal requirement around here. I know that's going to offend a lot of people in the UK and Europe that I drink iced tea, but I don't care. It's delicious.
All right, then. So with that statement, let's go to the next question. Nick 110 is asking, has the development of OnePlus One stopped? I haven't seen much news about it.
So the OnePlus One port is being developed by Marius. He's Mario Grip on IRC, and he runs ubports.com. I think it has slowed down a bit because he has like 100 devices now that he's trying to build ports for. Slight exaggeration, but he's got a lot. I don't even know how many he has anymore. He's doing a lot of ports at the same time. He's also trying to build some tools to make porting easier. So that's taken a lot of his time away from the OnePlus One port. Although I think he's got a new version out within the last month or so that rebased on some newer version of Cyanogen, I think, and brought some fixes. All right, let's see what's next.
There's a question from
Arleth. He says, a clean install reflash of my E4.5 fixed a lot of issues. I know all systems have this problem, but how can updated systems be made equal to clean install? So I'm going to assume that you did a wipe that cleared out all of your user data also, because otherwise, if you're using the image updates, it really shouldn't matter if it's a clean install or an upgrade. It should be identical. But clearing out user data will sometimes fix problems where an app has changed and the old data is causing problems. Also, if you happen to enable read-write mode and install any packages with apt-get, that will cause you some issues too that will only go away when you reflash. But the general path that we recommend of leaving it in read-only mode and using just image-based updates, that should generally keep everything nice and clean and stable. Again, other than user data, which is really an app-specific thing, and it's up to the app developers to make sure that they either update old data or they continue to work with old data.
Yeah, but I must say that
done. I know.
I must say though that doing updates via OTAs for my phone hasn't really given me much issues. As in, comparing it to a clean. I've never had to do a clean install once I stopped developing on my phone. I won't say that there might not be issues, but I personally haven't found any such big issue that I had to do a clean install.
All right, Chloe asks us, what game do you wish was available for Linux, which currently is not? And I'm going to leave that one to you because I really don't play any games at all anymore. So
I was gonna say
I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Chloe, and I was fearing that as well. I was gonna say, Chloe, you've just started the Q&A where there's the least gaming people from the community team involved. So perhaps we'll again defer that to the next Q&A where perhaps Poppy or perhaps even George Castro, who's not officially part of the community team, but in spirit, might be able to give you a better answer. Sorry.
Okay, Electric Bob asks, he says, I believe Mark Shuttleworth mentioned at the start of the year that the next version of Snaps may include ways for Unity 8 apps to perform some processes in the background. Is this on the books for this year? So I'm going to go back to an earlier answer where we talked about Snaps coming to Unity 8 and the work being led there. It's not there yet. And I think you're also going to need to distinguish what kind of device it's running on, because on a phone or tablet where we want to conserve battery life, we're probably going to remain pretty strict on what processes we allowed to run. But if you're running Unity 8 on the desktop, then we're going to be more flexible in that regard. So I think it's going to be determined more by what kind of device you're running it on than whether or not it's running Unity 8. Do you have anything to add to that, David?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'd like to see exactly what Electric Book is referring to, as in which kind of background processes would be allowed in snaps. I mean, I guess it depends if we're talking about snaps, as in packaging an app, for example. Let's take a GPS-like app. I think that would require a few changes in the architecture of snaps and in the way that that data is shared in the system. So I'm not sure we'll see that that soon. But then again, things are changing so quickly in snaps nowadays that that yeah, perhaps this might be possible.
I mean, I can tell you that if you run Unity 8 on a regular desktop right now, apps will keep running even if they're not the focused application. So you already have that right now. You can run background services through other means in Unity 8 on the desktop right now. It's just on the phones where we limit that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's going to be on the phones or on the next Unity 8 where everything is a snap rather than having snaps on top of the regular Ubuntu. But in any case, yeah, I mean, in a way, as Mike is saying, this is already possible today, but to do it the proper way might take still a while. But yeah.
All right, Chloe's asking, what features would you like to see in scopes?
Oh, I must say, I'll be talking from the developer point of view as well. I haven't had the chance yet to test myself as a developer JavaScript API, but this is something that I'm looking forward to use. I just haven't had the chance, and it's something that's already available. From the point of view of a user, I'm looking forward to the new ways of navigating through scopes. If I remember correctly, there was I know that we had a US session, an Ubuntu Online Summit session, where the design team presented or gave some glances of this new way of navigating scopes using tabs and so on. So I'm really looking forward to see that in action.
For myself, I would like to see more aggregating scopes and more use of aggregating scopes. I think there's a lot of potential still to be realized there.
All right. Electric Book is asking. It's actually Electric Book is asking quite a lot of good questions today. So it seems that he or she is on fire. From the name, I understand it's a he, but never mind. Although snaps and the technology behind them are open source, it seems that other major Linux distributions are not considering it and are instead going with GNOME's own Flatpak or something else. Is it possible for other distributions like Fedora or SUSE to use snaps without Canonical being involved? If not, what would need to change in order for that to become a possibility? I find it frustrating when another and
then it cuts off.
Yeah.
But I think we could start answering what's already there. There's nothing stopping it from working on other distros other than work. I think the big one right now is AppArmor, because we do use AppArmor for confinement, and that requires that your kernel be built with AppArmor support. And as far as I know, distros like Fedora don't have that on there. They're using SE Linux instead. Debian, I think, has AppArmor available as a boot time option. But there's work to do there to make sure that apps can run confined. It'll be easier to run them unconfined on these other distros, but then you lose that protection that that Snappy offers, which might be okay for you, especially if you're only installing snaps that you trust. But as part of our overall story, we want to get that working. It is our hope that other distros will be able to run snaps, and we're willing to work with anybody who wants to help us make that happen. You can join #snappy on Freenode. If you're a packager or a developer for any of those distros, please join that channel and give a general ping, say what distro you're from and that you'd like to help make snaps work on that distro. We will be more than happy to happen.
All right.
And if you had any other part of that question that got cut off, just re-ask that part. There's a limit, I think, either on the client or on Freenode to how big a single post can be.
Okay, so Cucumber is asking how to install snaps on the phone. I think I'll go back a bit to one question that we already answered and yeah, we're looking at ways of installing snaps on the phone. Is not currently possible yet.
Yeah, Chloe is asking, part of Microsoft's convergence plan is the Xbox. When will Canonical have an Xbox competitor, or is the idea to leave that to SteamOS? I think we're not looking at that part of the story just yet. As far as convergence goes, there's nothing particularly special about a gaming system over like a media PC, which is in our crosshairs still. For gaming, yeah, SteamOS is probably going to be the leading Linux-based device for that.
So another question from Chloe. Can we see an Ubuntu Edge device? I know that the original didn't get enough money, but I'd love to see a new one with USB-C and wired convergence. And I'd make a big call for anyone having some spare 40 millions. If they could help us on this, then we'd be more than happy to deliver an Ubuntu Edge device. But no, I mean, we said it's a really valid question, and we already said it when we ran the campaign. It was a huge effort to prepare. It was a huge effort to do the initial prototyping, but we said that unless we got that particular funding, we estimated it would cost to make the device. We wouldn't do it that time around. I think the Edge was the Edge was designed or was conceived at the time where we didn't even have an Ubuntu phone, and I think we're at a point in time where Ubuntu is running already on high-end phone devices. I wouldn't say there isn't a need for an Ubuntu Edge device, but I think part of the goals that we're trying to achieve with the Ubuntu Edge device, we've already achieved with in the way Ubuntu is available for phones today, or for high-end phones for today, as taking the Pro 5 as an example.
Yeah, I think there wouldn't be much point in developing an Ubuntu Edge with the specs that we were planning on doing originally, because the other phone manufacturers have mostly caught up to what we were planning on doing. If you look at, like David said, the Meizu Pro 5 or the latest devices coming out of OnePlus, those are at the spec level just about the same as what we were planning to do with the Ubuntu Edge. So in order to actually do another Edge campaign, we would have to decide what we want to do different now, because there's no point in just making a phone that's like all the others on the market.
So So Nick 110 is asking, I have been in many Linux communities, but the Ubuntu community is the most friendly, human, and helpful one. How do you think Ubuntu achieves this? And I'll stop for a second here and let me know that just to let you know that you've made my day with the initial comment of the question. That's exactly what we set out for when Ubuntu was launched, and to hear that feedback and to hear that you're feeling that's the case it's actually quite rewarding. I agree with Poppy, who's answered partly that question on the IRC channel, and ever since Ubuntu was born as a project, as a community, we've had code of conduct regulating the way we interact with each other, which is very, very simple, and it essentially says be respectful to each other. And I think that that defines quite a lot of the ethos and the interactions that you do within the Ubuntu community. Not only that, but also being treating other Ubuntu members as friends, as in this familiar environment, and working together on the same things that you believe in. I think that makes it quite easy for it to be then such a friendly environment.
Yeah, the code of conduct was definitely important, and it was one of the things that Ubuntu pioneered. But it was also a reflection of the culture that was Ubuntu when it started. From the very beginning, and even the mission statement, Ubuntu for or Linux for human beings, it was about making it accessible to everybody and usable by everybody. And that ethos and that culture, which spawned the original code of conduct, has carried through to this day, and it's become such an integral part of what Ubuntu is, that it's able to continue to drive our community to be friendly and welcoming.
All right, Gerald is asking, I thought I was alone with problems with location services, which affect UNAV and nearby scopes, but a recent review of MX5 reported similar. Is it on the radar at Canonical? Yes, it is. We're aware of some issues with the location service, and we're actually looking at them. This is something that has been reported on the mailing lists on bugs, and it's a bit of a. I mean, to be quite honest, it's a bit of a technical issue sometimes because of the fact that that the driver for location essentially it's partly binary, meaning that there's no easy way for us to debug as deep as we would do with the rest of the code. But yeah, rest assured that we're looking into it.
Yeah, and GPS, if you're just using the radio, that's generally going to be bad no matter what OS you're running. I know for Android, they've got a whole set of data that they've collected from Ingress players that lets them get a pretty good idea of your location very quickly. So they can give you that before the radio itself is able to give you any useful information. And unfortunately, we don't have access to that data. We're using something similar that Nokia has put together for the commercial devices anyway, which offers the same kind of service, but I don't think they've got quite the massive amount of data collected that Google has. All right, the next one is from Mario Grip, and he says, is it or will it be possible to program Ubuntu apps on Rust, which is the new programming language that has come out of Mozilla that is meant to be, I think, massively parallel? I don't see any reason why not. If you want to use the SDK, all you really need is a Qt binding for Rust. I don't know if such a thing exists yet, but there's Qt bindings for a bunch of languages. So if it doesn't exist, it should be possible.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that to mention as well is that Well, it's possible to run applications with other bindings on other languages right now. Right from the start of the Ubuntu phone, we decided on Qt being the only supported way to write applications for Ubuntu. Essentially, this means using Qt on top of C++ or QML, which is part of Qt. However, it's possible to write applications with Go bindings and even on Python as well. But you have to understand as well that we have to limit how many languages are supported, so that it's so that Ubuntu is as a developer platform is maintainable, and we can offer good support to our developers. However, since it's technically possible, and since that you can get support from other community members, yeah, I think essentially what I'm trying to say is that if you wanted to make it possible.
All right, Chloe's asking us, Windows phones are losing market share. Windows phones currently have more features, more apps, and are more slick than Ubuntu phones. That last part might be debatable. How will Ubuntu phones avoid similar circumstances that Microsoft is going through? So we've had a very different go-to-market strategy than Microsoft has. Microsoft tried to go out and win a bunch of users up front by going directly to consumers. And they made a big push there, hoping that it would pay off by more support afterwards from services and app developers. That was a gamble that they could afford to make because they had a lot of money and resources, but it unfortunately didn't seem to pay off the way they hoped it would. Our approach is slower, but a little bit less risky. We're growing organically, little by little. Every time we get a foothold, we build on top of that. It's the same kind of strategy that we've been working on the desktop that's paid off so well, and on the cloud also. So for us, we don't have to have a big payoff to make this worthwhile. We just have to continue growing at a steady pace. And that's what we've been doing, and still the plan going into the future.
Exactly. And I would add as well that Ubuntu has got also unique selling points as well, such as convergence and scopes. And that was also something that we were very, very conscious at the start. We didn't want to make a copy of another existing platform because that wouldn't be setting us for success. But in particular, the convergence story, which is something that we're pushing very hard on right now, is something that we think makes Ubuntu phones very, very unique, and something that's going to be attractive, or is already starting to be attractive to users.
All right, Jarlath asks, there's been hundreds, if not thousands, of reports of institutions or regions switching to Ubuntu over the years. Is there a central place to go back and read them? I don't know of any central place, but insights.ubuntu.com will usually cover those when we find out about them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we used to have a case studies section on ubuntu.com, but I don't think we've got it. I think there might be some, but yeah, using the search function on Insights, as Mike is saying, it's probably the best place.
Nick110 asks, will Mark be at UbuCon Europe, and do you know if there's some known speakers and talks yet?
All right. We have actually got a list of speakers. I've just pasted it on IRC. We've got folks from Canonical. We've got actually Jane doing the keynote. Mark is not confirmed yet, but Mark was already at the last UbuCon summit, so it's not uncommon for him to be at these events. As I said, we've got Jane. We've got folks from the Ubuntu community, being either volunteers or Canonical employees. You'll see some known faces on that list. We've got people from Microsoft. So I'd say go and check out that page. Tell us what you think of the speakers. If you got any suggestion or anyone that you'd like to see there, just let us know, and we can do our best to get them in there.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Jane is Jane Silber. She's the CEO of Canonical, so that's a pretty big win for the UbuCon Europe guys to get. Chloe is asking, when will Ubuntu overtake Windows in market share? It depends on which market you're talking about, because on the cloud and server side, that happened long ago.
All right, nothing to add to that one.
Jarlath asks, any plans to make it easier to report bugs from the phone? For example, a link to the Launchpad page in the App Store entry, as well as a mobile-friendly Launchpad. There is, so in the store you can put a support URL, which can either be an email or a URL to a page like Launchpad, but not all apps are going to use Launchpad, so it can't be specific to that. I don't know if it's clickable right now, though, so maybe the easy fix there is to just make that a clickable link in the store scope. As far as a mobile-friendly version of Launchpad, I don't know if there's any plans for that. There is now new Launchpad development, so we may see that at some point. And the next one is for you, David, from Jarlath, whose wife wants to know how you got the glass bottle from around the light bulb.
Right.
You have a popular lamp on these Q&As.
That'd be that one. And yeah, it's not the first time that's been asked on a Q&A. It was actually a present from my girlfriend, and it's not actually a closed bottle, so you might see that there's a hole in the bottom, so that's how you get the light bulb through it. It needs to be a small light bulb, and the next thing I'm planning to do in my ample free time is to create a couple more that will go around it. So you might have some, or you might see some more illumination on the next Q&As at some point.
All right. Nick is asking, when will Ubuntu Touch? Will there be Ubuntu Touch on the OnePlus 3? That would be awesome. So that's one of the devices that I was mentioning earlier that's really Ubuntu Edge spec level. To really be Mario Grip there. He's been doing all of the OnePlus porting so far. And I'm sure if you want to give him a OnePlus 3 or give him the money to buy one, he would be more than happy to start working on that.
All right. Chloe, we've, actually, as a reminder, we've got about 10 minutes, so we probably need to go quick through the questions. There's quite a lot of them, but as a reminder, we've got a Q&A every week at this time, so feel free to forward some of these questions to next week, or you should feel free to nag us as well and ping us if you've got these questions, and we can ask them on IRC later on. All right, so Chloe is asking, what little thing do you want to see different or changed in Ubuntu Phone that might not have much attention because it's small compared to other features, or don't feel it's worthy of a Launchpad bug? Oh,
so the one that I want, and it's worth a Launchpad bug, and I've already talked to people about how it might be implemented, is the ability to have click packages that are just like customization content, so wallpaper packages or different icon themes or something like that. That's something that I would like to see. It's unfortunately not big on the priority list because they want to do things like fix GPS. But I'm hoping that'll come. It may take until we have snap packages on the phone for that to be there, though.
All right, and I would say, I think something that's a bit of a, yeah, I mean, something that bugs me sometimes is the welcome screen, unlocking the welcome screen with a number. I'd like it to be, I would like there to be a more innovative way of unlocking, that's quicker and more comfortable to the user. But the number-based pin works for me in any case.
All right. Chloe's again asking, are there plans to talk to some smaller phone manufacturers like Wiley, Fox, and OnePlus, or are you heading for the top with Samsung and Sony? I think we will talk to anybody who wants to talk to us. Our first two partners, BQ is relatively small. I think Meizu's a good bit bigger, but neither one of them are typical flagship manufacturers.
Okay, Janet is asking, when will Unity 8 in 1604? Sorry, let me just re-ask. When will Unity 8 in 1604 support installs from the App Store? They download 100%, then they give an error. Oh, I see what you mean. So
I think that was a click policy kit related bug. I think you've been commenting on my blog. So if you're still having an issue with that, if you join #Ubuntu-Unity, they might be able to help you. You're probably going to have to install the stable phone overlay PPA to get the latest stuff, though, because I don't think a lot of the new Unity 8 and click work is being backported 1604.
I think, though, that this particular bug on the click side of things was being looked at as an SRU, but then there's the server component as well. And the ability to install click packages on 1604. I think the fix might have landed. I mean, I know that the bug was fixed, but that would mean only to install clicks through the command line. But yeah, in any case, as we're working to get better Snap support right now, there might be less of a priority to install clicks on Unity 8 first.
All right, Seb3M10HD asks, what happened to Ubuntu Lite? So there was a OMG article reminiscing about this project a while back. And really what happened was it, through a series of steps, morphed into what eventually became Ubuntu Phone. Small, kind of embedded version of Ubuntu. What led us down this path?
Right, I really need to remind myself of it. I know that it was a while ago, but I'm guessing, as Mike is saying, that that brought us to the phone and then to Ubuntu Core, essentially, which is the snapified version of Ubuntu.
Right. Mario Grip is asking, where is his Ubuntu watch? And Marius, I think you left it next to your Ubuntu glasses.
All right. So Chloe is asking, what's the best way to convince other software vendors to make Linux apps? Will Snappy help developers of other OSs to make Linux apps? I'd say certainly. I think traditionally one of the issues with running apps, or not running, but one of the issues with updating apps or keeping apps up to date on Linux distributions have been the fact that these apps, unless it's a rolling release model, are tied to the OS lifecycle, and even then, on a rolling release, you're still tied to the OS's lifecycle, even though that goes at a quicker pace. With Snap, you're currently you're actually decoupled from the OS's lifetime, so you can publish updates whenever you want. The fact that we've got libraries embedded into the Snap lets us also be able to install snaps in different distributions as well. So not only snaps that you create for 1604, you'll be able to update them throughout the 1604 lifecycle, but they should work on previous and subsequent versions of the OS. Also, there's the security aspect, the app isolation that we introduced with Snappy. That's something that's very, very interesting for users, so that they can, without further thought, install apps that they know that they won't damage their system or change data from other parts of the system. So I think that's something that's very, very attractive already, not only for other software vendors in other platforms, but also in other traditional Linux distributions as well.
Right. So to summarize, basically, the best way to convince them is to make it a lot easier to do. If we make it easy enough to do, then it's easy for them to justify putting in the effort to make that happen. Right. Wordy is asking, I see the potential for Juju. I'm stumbling over the huge flux happening on 2.0 Devel. When will there be a stable 2.0 release of Juju? I actually haven't kept up with Juju in the last 6 months or so I'm not sure what upheaval there is right now in Juju 2.0. I know they've introduced some new stuff to make it easier to build charms. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, or the actual deployment of it. The best people to ask are the people in the Juju IRC channel. That's #Juju on Freenode. They can give you a more specific answer on that.
All right.
All right. Almost out of time. How many do we have left?
I think we've got only 1 or 2 left, so we might be able to finish on time. Is Mario's question the next one?
It looks like it. He's asking, why isn't Canonical sponsoring Mario Grip UB ports for his great work? Because if we paid you, then we would have to tell you what to work on, and it probably wouldn't be phones that we don't have commercial partners for. Sorry. Keep watching the job boards, though. You know, if there's an opening in our hardware enablement team, you would be a good fit for that. Mario again is asking, what's the status on Unity 8 with binary NVIDIA drivers? So I don't have any specific insight on that other than their recent driver release notes, which said that they were adding some preliminary Mir and also Wayland support to that driver. That's all that I know right now. I know they're interested in supporting both Mir and Wayland, so hopefully soon they will have that working. But because it is closed development, we're really not going to know until it's released.
All right, and I think with that, we ended up on time, answering all of the questions.
Perfect timing. How about that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So just to wrap up, first of all, thank you everyone for all of your questions. I found personally it's been a really good Q&A. I mean, I haven't been in one for a couple of weeks, and it felt that like you guys were spot on with the questions you asked. The right tricky questions as well, and it seems that that everyone is pretty much on top of what's happening in Ubuntu right now. So again, thanks everyone for participating, for watching us, and for asking your questions. We'll be here back next week at the same time. We discussed having a schedule with guests on the last US. So this is something that I would personally like to start looking at. So without making any promises yet, we will see if we can get the first one of the guests next week. And with that, I think that's all from my side.
Just a reminder that we do these every week, as David said, and all of the past ones are recorded and on YouTube for you to watch. So if you go to youtube.com/UbuntuOnAir, you can rewatch this one or any of the past episodes that we've had. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @UbuntuOnAir to get updates of upcoming events. That's all we have.
All right then. Thanks again,
Thanks,
and
everyone.
see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.